Welcome back to another episode of the Sunday Stash. I'm here with episode number 18. I'm actually going to be doing 2 this week, mainly because I figured I wanted to talk about everything that's going on with the stock market. So I kind of doing an episode here on a Friday. So kind of a, I guess, Friday stash maybe. I put a disclaimer out here. Most likely there is going to be some foul language coming later in this episode. Consider yourself warned. The foul language is going to end up most likely being because of all the shit that's happening on Wall Street this week, and I get a little bit heated when I'm talking about this stuff because it's absolutely fucking insane. The criminality that it appears as though is happening in the stock market and on Wall Street currently. So I figured since everybody else has given their 2 cents on GameStop, I would give mine. This is actually a pretty extensive topic, and I'm not actually going to cover everything right now. I will talk a little bit more about it on Sunday when I do episode 19, but I didn't want to cover everything today. I just want to hit a couple of things and some timeline and talk about that. So I am putting on hold the executive orders that I was planning on talking about from the old dictator-in-chief, Joe Biden, because it's honestly, I feel like this stuff that's going on with the stock market is a lot more pressing, and with the rapid pace that he is signing executive orders, I'm having a hard time keeping up with everything. So I will be doing some more research in that, and probably that'll be next week or something like that. I'm not really sure. Those executive orders aren't going anywhere. So anyway, by this point in the week, you should have heard about what's going on with GameStop. It's been covered on the news. Everybody's been talking about it. It's kind of hard to have avoided talking about this because it is pretty crazy. And it's a little confusing, and I'm not going to go into the specifics on everything. As I said, I'll probably talk about some more of this on Sunday after I have an opportunity to really dive in and do some of the more, I don't necessarily say deeper research, because I would consider myself, I'm not one of these smart guys from Wall Street or one of these smart guys from, at this point, the Wall Street Bets Forum. Some of them are pretty smart guys. I made some money this past year. I would consider myself mildly intelligent. I am not a person that does really good securities research. So I'm going to do what I can to kind of give an overview of the way I see the stock market stuff and GameStop. But that's going to be on Sunday. I'm just kind of talking about a few things here today. I wanted to give a little bit of backstory, but a little bit of a schedule of events of everything that happened this week. So anyway, as I mentioned, you had to have heard about GameStop and the fact that the price is going to the absolute fucking moon, right? I mean, it's pretty crazy how quickly this thing has just climbed. Earlier this month, and I want to say maybe in December, the price was maybe like $20. It wasn't very much. I want to say early last week or something like that, the price was like $40 a share. And everything started to grow. And it really, honestly, looked a little bit weird as to what was going on. And basically, what ended up happening was, so GameStop is, for anybody that doesn't know, GameStop is this brick and mortar store where you can go in, you can trade games, you can use... you can buy hardware, as in like a game system, so Xbox, you can buy PlayStation, you can buy old stuff too, if they've got any. You can buy the actual physical games, you can trade games in, all kinds of stuff. It's a one-stop shop for essentially for gaming. It's not huge as far as like old games, so like NES or anything like that, but it's still a place that you can go. I know GameStop has caught a lot of shit from people over the years because of the fact that, you buy a game for $60 and then you go turn it in and they give you $15 for it after the game's been out for 2 weeks or something like that. So GameStop gets its fair share of criticism. But I will say, these are millennials that are shopping there. And we're the ones that are going to give them their criticism. We say that they fucking suck because of the fact that they're, in our opinions, I don't want to necessarily say scamming us, but we're the ones that go in there and spend the money. We're the ones that are buying the video games, so we can give them the credit. We can give them the shit. So what happened was, fundamentally, a hedge fund, or a group of hedge funds, or a couple of hedge funds, or a bunch of people with a lot of money, old guys, they looked at the balance sheet and they said, GameStop basically fucking sucks. They don't have any money, or they do have money, but they're bleeding money. The type of store is dying. They're essentially the Blockbuster of 2020 or 2021. So they opened this massive short position. And essentially what they did was they shorted 140% of the stock, which is over the 100% of the stock that you would normally be able to short. So it turns out to be, I want to say there's like 69 million shares total. And it turns out, I guess, if it's 140% shorted, then it's, I guess, I don't know, 90 to 100 million. I think that's the way that works. So anyway, they shorted up everything. They shorted the whole thing. And basically, Reddit, these guys on a Reddit forum called Wall Street Bets, somebody noticed, and then they mentioned it. And when they mentioned it on Wall Street Bets, that gained some traction, and once that gained some traction, it exploded. People saw that. People realized that these hedge funds were massively over-leveraged, and a good short squeeze would force them to start covering their positions, and they would start losing money. And then once they start closing their position, it drives the price up. So that's more or less the idea. Shorting a stock is when you make money when it's going down. So that's essentially what the hedge funds were doing. They looked at the fundamentals and they said, GameStop's a failing company. Makes sense. We're going to go ahead and short this. They just so happened to short a company that realistically people my age absolutely fucking love, or we have a lot of nostalgic feelings for. And I don't know if that's something that's playing in here and the reason why that everybody is just so at it, or if it's just a common name that people know. Maybe that's what it is. Everybody knows what GameStop is. And we all know that it's not fundamentally a good company, but we see the price move and we jump in trying to make some money, or just, fuck the hedge funds. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not really 100% sure. That's what it kind of feels like. Fuck the hedge funds. And I think they chose GameStop because, well, it's massively over shorted. So on Tuesday, this is when I first started getting into this and seeing it. So Tuesday, I got home from work after the market had already closed, and I saw these huge price jumps. And I was wondering what was going on, and I saw something online about short squeeze, and I was like, what the hell is this? I don't really know what this is. There wasn't a lot of videos out or anything like that about what was going on with GameStop, other than maybe like Jim Cramer or something like that. So then I watched a couple of videos about him, and one of the things that he'd said was they're doing this with a lot of stocks that are really heavily shorted. And when you go and you look and you just go Google stocks that are most heavily shorted, you see some of the others, and some of the others that are popular here recently have been seeing things like AMC, obviously GameStop. I don't think I saw BlackBerry on there, but BlackBerry was trending. Nokia was also another one that was trending. Naked was trending. Koss was trending. So a lot of these companies, really heavily shorted, so they start trending. And the Wall Street Bets boys decide, let's go ahead and we're going to buy. We're going to drive the price up. And that's what happened. So starting Monday and Tuesday, the price goes through the roof. It just starts climbing and climbing and climbing. Tuesday night is when it really started climbing. Post-market trading was absolutely through the roof. I saw AMC and I was like, it's like $6 a share. I'll go ahead and toss $3,000 at that and see what happens. $3,000 wasn't allocated for anything for me, so I was just saying, let me see what I can do. If it doubles in price, I'll go ahead and snag my money back and take a quick $3,000 and move on with my life. And I would have done that if I had access to maybe some post-market trading or something like that, and been able to buy it maybe Tuesday night or something like that. I didn't get that opportunity. I went to bed and the post-market price was maybe plus $3 or something like that. And when I woke up, it was plus 16. So I was like, shit, I'm not going to end up being able to buy this. So I got to work, still had my $3,000 just sitting there. Couldn't do shit with it. I could have bought at like $20, but I figured I knew what was going to end up happening. I knew that it was gonna spike, and then people were gonna take their profits, and then they were gonna buy back in. But I wasn't ballsy enough to end up throwing money back into something like this, because I looked at it and I was like $14 or whatever the hell it was on Wednesday morning. I was like, there's no way I'm buying this shit. Not at this inflated price. I knew it was going to end up falling, but I wasn't really sure what was going to happen. And because of this market volatility, if I had bought it at $6, I probably would have bought it. If I could have, I would have bought it at $6, and I would have been okay with it. But the fact that I couldn't buy it at $6, I wasn't going to get in there. I know that AMC's nobody's going to the fucking movies right now. There's no point in buying that. No one's going to the fucking movies. It's literally only being done for a short squeeze. And I agree. Fuck the hedge funds. See if we can fuck them up, right? If I can be part of fucking a hedge fund up and make a little bit of money and then get out, I'll be okay with that. But I mean, I'm not going to do that for $16 a share. So anyway, I didn't buy. I didn't get GameStop. I didn't get Nokia. I got none of them. I figured that things were going to fall, and the trouble for me is I think the large price movements are happening in post-market or pre-market trading, and I don't have access to post-market or pre-market trading, at least that I know of. I've never really had access to it before that I've been able to see. So now at this point, I am just a market watcher, and it's actually pretty fun. If I was invested, I'd be pretty fucking hot right now. I'd be super pissed, mainly at like Wall Street won, but mainly at Robinhood. I'd be super fucking hot. I'd probably be Dave Portnoy level heated if I was invested with any of these companies right now. So anyway, Tuesday ended. I woke up. I go to work, and the prices are super fucking high. I think GameStop was up $140 or something. I think it reached like $350 that day or something crazy. And it closed today fairly fucking high. But Wednesday, once the market opened, everything got crazy. GameStop flew up. The short squeeze is essentially in full effect. CNBC had reported that Melvin Capital had actually closed their position on that. So supposedly, they actually got out. Now Reddit and Twitter and everybody online figured that was a fucking lie. I don't know if that's illegal or not to report something like that. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I'm not a lawyer, don't really know. But anyway, Reddit said there's no fucking way they did this. Buy the shit out of it. So they continued to do that. Buy. And they didn't stop. Continued to buy. That basically caused Wall Street to shut down. They were saying, fuck these hedge funds. Fuck these guys. Let's send it to the moon. We're getting this to $1,000. We're going to bankrupt those motherfuckers. Right? So then I start watching the news, and I'm like, all right, I never watch the news when I'm at work because I usually obviously have stuff going on. So I turn on CNBC. I'm looking and I'm watching, and honestly, I feel like the news was completely lost. They didn't have a fucking clue what it was that was happening. Obviously, they're reporting on this. This is financial news too. They didn't have a fucking clue what was happening, and it seemed to me as though Jim Cramer was the only person that had a clue what was going on. The news, they were out there defending Wall Street. They had absolutely no idea. They were throwing guesses out there. They were like, none of this makes any sense. Fundamentally, this is a bad stock. Why are people buying it? It doesn't make any sense. So Wednesday, it's through the fucking roof, right? It almost went to the moon. So then, the market closes on Wednesday, and everybody at this point, it's trending everywhere. Everybody's heard about this. Everybody knows what's going on. Wall Street bets, Reddit. I want to say Reddit trading is a Twitter handle, and I think they went from 9,000 to 600,000 followers. Wall Street Bets mods, I think they went from some ridiculously low number to something high. Wall Street Bets chairman, I think it was Wall Street Bets chairman. That Twitter handle went through the fucking roof as far as followers, and they just kept tweeting memes and all that kind of stuff. And meme culture took over, and it was fucking crazy. So anyway, as people start flooding to Wall Street Bets, because they used to only have 2 million people or something like that. I remember on Tuesday night, I was talking to my girlfriend and told her that, yeah, these guys can move the market. You got 2 million people, maybe if they got $10,000 a piece, it's like, I think it ended up being, that's like $20 billion or something. And, that's what I told her. And then people start just joining up. I think today, the forum is up to 5.5 or 6.5 million people have joined it. So it's going crazy, and everybody's getting in there. And once everybody jumps in, what ends up happening? Shit posts. People that have absolutely no fucking business being in there start posting a bunch of dumb shit that has absolutely zero relevance with what's going on with what you guys are talking about. So what ends up happening is people start posting a bunch of dumb shit, and they end up, basically, in my opinion, the whole point of it was to try and get it to get shut down. Anytime you get the internet involved in anything, somebody's inevitably going to fuck it up, and they're going to do something stupid. So I think, Elon Musk had tweeted, Discord went corpo, and evidently from what I've gathered, they had essentially been banned for, they banned Wall Street Bets for, it was hateful and discriminatory content. And now from what I understand, they are back up, and they're able to, and I think Discord is actually helping them moderate their content a little bit better, because from what I understand, that was what they were having an issue with because of all the people that were doing shit posts. So they end up having, having to moderate everything a little bit better. So anyway, Wall Street Bets was, I guess not, I don't want to say blocked, but it was taken private on Reddit as well. And it was because I think they had so many people that were joining up, and it didn't last very long. It was back up in a couple of hours or something like that. They just needed to kind of get a hold of what was going on. The moderators were having such a hard time doing anything. So then Thursday morning, in step Robinhood, right? Robinhood. Steal from the rich, give to the poor. Zero commission trades, right? Zero commission app that has millions of Redditors using it, right? Millions of millennials. They joined up specifically because it was zero commission trades. They want to be able to get in the market, right? And that's the idea. Robinhood, steal from the rich, give to the poor. Does it work that way? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see over the next few days what happens. I'm sure there will be an investigation into what Robinhood did, but essentially what they did, them plus other brokerage firms, so it wasn't just Robinhood, but Robinhood as well as I think Webull, Fidelity, maybe TD Ameritrade, a couple of these, they ended up restricting people's abilities to buy certain securities. Now, I don't have the full list of securities, but I know on the list it was things like GameStop. They didn't allow them to buy that. AMC. Basically everything that people were piling all of their fucking money into the previous day and buying and driving the price up. They piled all their money into that. And then Robinhood, using Robinhood as the example, they're pretty much the sacrificial lamb in all of this, because that's the one that everybody's talking about. But Robinhood, essentially, because that's the one everyone uses, they have like 13 or 15 million users, and they affected a lot of people doing this. They are the one, all these brokerage firms shut down people's ability to buy stuff, and a lot of those securities were the ones that were going viral. Now, it just so happens that those were also all the securities that were heavily shorted. Now, those securities were heavily shorted by, assumingly, probably, large hedge funds. And their reasoning for locking people out, as they said, was volatility. And at least that's what the app had said. I have access to both Robinhood and E-Trade. I use E-Trade for my serious stuff, and I use E-Trade for my as the Wall Street Bets boys call it, YOLOs. So I end up having access to both. Now, I could view things on E-Trade. Now, I normally, I use Yahoo Finance for not quotes or anything like that, but I use Yahoo Finance to track the market because I don't necessarily want to be looking at my positive and negative money in my account all the time. So I don't go to E-Trade all that often. I mainly use Yahoo Finance to look at quotes and everything like that. But I just wanted to see what was going on in Robinhood because I'd heard and seen on Twitter that everybody was getting locked out. You couldn't even view GameStop. You couldn't even view BlackBerry. None of these. You couldn't look at them. They didn't even have them available. It wasn't that they weren't allowing you to trade them. You couldn't even view them. It's like they hit the delete button and you couldn't even see what was happening, right? So anyway, the Robinhood CEO said that the reason was net capital requirements. And then, I think that was Wednesday or Thursday that he said this, yesterday when there was everything locked out. He goes, net capital requirements and all that kind of stuff. And then the guy was like, well, it sounds like there's a liquidity issue. And then the Robinhood CEO goes, no, there wasn't a liquidity issue, right? Liquidity essentially means you need cash, right? A cash issue. But net capital requirements, capital would be also cash. To me, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just an idiot. But liquidity and capital would kind of be the same thing. So anyway, then he proceeds to, after trading on Thursday, after hours on Thursday, after they're getting all this shit, he goes and he raises $1 billion out in town somewhere. Maybe some other hedge funds or some billionaires or something like that, right? Seems a little odd to me, right? There's no liquidity issue, but then you go out and you borrow money because you need net capital requirements. Obviously, somebody out there is going to go in and they're going to look and they're going to find out every single thing that this guy said. And I know some investigation is going to be done into this. And we'll figure things out over the next couple of days and the next couple of weeks and figure out what really actually happened. But it seems a little odd to me. It just doesn't make any sense. And I there's videos out there, Dave Portnoy, acting, talking about how this stuff is criminal, and it does. It seems really fucking criminal. It seems like what they did was that they locked people out. Obviously, the CEO of Robinhood has said that's a conspiracy theory, but it seems very weird, right? And now he says you can buy other things. You can buy Ford, you can buy GE, thousands of other securities on the app that you can buy. But that's the problem. No one wants to fucking buy those. That's the issue. They want to buy GameStop. They want to buy AMC. We're getting GameStop going to the fucking moon. That's how it's going to go. That's what we're doing. Fucking the hedge funds. But the problem is you couldn't do that. You couldn't buy them. Now, they were allowing you to sell, right? And then some of them were actually being force sold. Now, that is one thing that I do want to address here because when you buy things on margin, that's an issue, right? You're buying things with someone else's money, technically. So I honestly, and I'm not, like I said before, I'm not a lawyer, but I feel as though Robinhood probably does have the ability to do that, right? And obviously, if they said they don't have a a liquidity issue, but if they're forcing people to sell, they're force selling people's securities, it seems a little odd to me. It seems very, very shady, right? Personally, when I first started trading with E-Trade, I didn't understand margin, and I ended up accidentally changing my E-Trade account to a margin account. I didn't know what it was. And then when I logged in one day and I was trying to do some day trading and everything, because it is true, you do have to let certain securities, when you sell, if you sell and buy and then sell again, you have to let those trades settle before you can use those funds again. So that is true in that regard. So I understand where they're coming from there. And I had accidentally swapped over to a margin account specifically because I was continuously trading in and out of trades during the day, and I didn't understand what was going on. I got a margin call because I had one security that ended up going down because I was an idiot and I bought some marijuana stocks. And, I ended up swapping my account back over to a cash account. And now all I do is long-term investing, personally. But when you buy margin, and when you're buying on margin, and when you're borrowing someone else's money, it kind of, there's a gray area there, and I think that Robinhood probably had the right to do what they could do, but it's still shady. And when you're only allowing people to sell, and you're force selling some people's securities, what happens when you sell? Right? Prices go down. And that's what happened. The prices ended up going down. While people were allowed to buy on Wednesday, the price was rising, shooting through the fucking moon, right? Through the roof, all the way up, it went above, it closed above $300, right? But when the stock was artificially depressed by the fact that you were not allowed to buy, it dropped, and it closed less than $200 the following day, on Thursday. Now, it seems as though that's criminal. I don't know, like I said, not a lawyer, but it seems a little bit weird. The Robinhood CEO, he keeps saying that, if people want to get out of their trade, they can, right? But that's the problem. People don't want to get out of their trades. They want to get in. They want to buy more. That's the idea. They want to push the price higher. So essentially what's happening is these brokerage firms are not allowing people to buy, because no one has access. Not many people, not most of the people, have access to things like TD Ameritrade or Fidelity or E-Trade. They don't have access to those. Most people are using things like Robinhood. And that's an issue, Robinhood or Webull or something like that. Now, the Webull CEO, from what I understand, he has offered up a very good explanation as to what it is that they're doing. It has to do with clearinghouses and everything like that, where when I'm not 100% sure on everything, but the answer that he gives to these questions actually seems fairly reasonable. But Robinhood is their own, from what I understand, Robinhood is their own clearinghouse, and they started doing that a while ago to, I guess, maybe mitigate some of the issues with a separate entity telling them what they could and couldn't do, or what they could and couldn't allow their customers to do. So I'm not really sure what's going to end up happening. So it's just really weird to me, and it seems real shady. And maybe it's a coincidence that Robinhood and some of these hedge funds are financially tied together, and and the fact that Robinhood paused the trading when hedge funds were getting absolutely just fucking smoked. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I think those questions need to be asked. Records definitely need to be looked at, and investigations will need to be conducted. Obviously, what is her name? AOC and Ted Cruz finally decided to agree for a whole 30 fucking seconds, and then now they hate each other again because Ted Cruz says something about trying to kill people or something. I don't really know. So anyway, Friday morning rolls around, right? Thursday closes out. Everybody's all pissed, right? Friday rolls around today. All the problems are solved, right? The CEO of Robinhood goes out. He gets his $1 billion worth of funds and stuff that he needs. Then they come and they start allowing everybody to trade again, right? Well, wrong. That's actually not what happened, right? You can trade, but you can only buy like 1 or 2 shares, and that's the problem. No one wants to buy just 1 or 2. They want to buy more than that, right? It's essentially death by 1,000 cuts. That's the idea. Screw the hedge funds by buying 1 or 2 shares, buying fractional shares. That's the idea. Do this, right? That's how this is going to go. Now I know there are a lot of things about the market that I don't understand, and maybe the Robinhood CEO did everything on the up and up. I honestly don't really know. Maybe there were these net capital requirements and they needed all that kind of stuff. It just seems kind of weird to me. So anyway, today GameStop had closed again high, and it closed $131 up. And here in post-market trading here over the last few hours, it's actually stayed fairly stable. So that's where we're at right now. Now, I get the fact that when you're going to get zero commission trades, right? Robinhood changed the game. When I was trading 5 years ago, everything was commission trade. You had to pay, it was like $4 or $5 a trade, and if you traded higher volume, then you got to trade. If you traded like 50 times a month or something like that, E-Trade would charge you less, right? But Robinhood comes in, zero commission trades, and they make their money, right? That's the idea. If the service is free, then you're the product, right? And essentially the idea is that Robinhood was selling order volume or something like that to a hedge fund, or they were selling it to some other place. They were buying it. That's how Robinhood is making their money. But they didn't disclose that, and they actually got into some trouble last year and had to pay a $65 million fine because they didn't disclose how they ended up getting their money. Now, I get that, right? I get that there's going to be a price to pay for having a free service. The price to pay is the fact that the large hedge funds essentially get to know what it is that people are buying, right? And they can do math on that, and then they can, I guess, buy, and they can make money that way. I get it. And I don't think most people necessarily have all that much of an issue with a hedge fund doing that, right? Up to this point, no one's really been bitching or complaining about it. But when you're getting fucking smoked in the market, you don't really get the right to bitch about that kind of stuff, right? It's the thing. If you're getting beat because some dumbasses on a Reddit forum figured out that you were massively over leveraged, is that the little guy's fault? Is that our fault? Is that us? Or is that the hedge fund's fault? Is that the hedge fund for making a bad decision? Shouldn't some proper risk management be implemented there? Right? That's not my fault. That's not the little guy's fault. That's not the retail investor's fault. That's the hedge fund's fault. You shouldn't be bitching if you're getting fucking smoked in the market by somebody named Deep fucking Value, or what is it, Potato in his ass or something like that. There's a couple of Reddit names that are pretty fucking funny. So it's just risk management. Most people never thought that this was going to end up happening. It's ridiculous. No one ever thought this was going to happen. So I get it. I get what they did. You've been walking along, and you didn't think anything was ever going to happen. You've been counting cards in the casino. You didn't think anybody was ever going to catch you, and then somebody fucking caught you, right? Somebody caught you, and then everybody ganged up on you, and now you're crying in the corner because now you can't count cards anymore, and now everybody realizes that the market's rigged, right? Go fuck yourself, right? That's how I feel about it. When you end up on the wrong side of the trade, you get fucked, right? And that's how it happens. And honestly, when the Wall Street Bets boys are on the wrong side of the trade, they're the ones that are getting fucked. And, the market doesn't pause for them. So that's what happens. You get fucked. That's how it works. You made a mistake. You ended up on the wrong side of the trade. And that's what it was. You essentially did what the Wall Street Bets boys did, and you YOLO'd on a short, and you got fucked. That's what happens. There's plenty of people. You go to Wall Street Bets and you look at the losses. There's plenty of people out there that bought some options on some dumb shit that they didn't have a fucking clue what it was that they were doing, and they got smoked. There's tons of videos online about talking about this, where people are talking about these are the worst trades of May. These are the worst trades of 2020. Tons of people getting fucking smoked in the market. Yeah, and they bitch and they complain. But you know what they don't do? They don't go and talk to their buddies and get the fucking market paused. Right? So anyway, the market moves on. I don't think the hedge funds... I do think that the hedge funds are going to end up winning. I don't think they're going to end up paying the ultimate price for this. At the end of the day, it's going to end up being us. We're the ones that are going to hold this empty bag. We're not going to... This bag of, GameStop shares that's worth fucking nothing, right? That's what's going to end up happening. It's us. We're the ones that are going to end up holding all these worthless shares. That's how it's going to go. I know that's how it's going to go. I think we all understand that that's how it's going to go, right? In 2008, the taxpayers bailed out Wall Street because they didn't operate with proper fucking risk management, right? And obviously we see what's happening here is that they're over leveraging themselves to the point where they can't handle it. And it's essentially that all over again. And honestly, at this point, the little guy is saying, hey, go fuck yourself. Fuck you, Wall Street. That's basically what's happening, right? And I'm right there with them. Yeah, fuck the hedge funds. If they're going to end up doing some dumb shit like this, if you make a dumb trade, that's what it is. You made a dumb trade, and you got caught. You got caught with your fucking pants down. It sucks. You take your licks, and then you go back. You're going to end up going and getting another job. You made fucking tons of money to begin with. All you got to do is go borrow somebody else's fucking money again and start all over. And just don't fucking short shit, right? At this point, honestly, I don't think it's even about money. It's about sending a message. All these people who, are doing this, I honestly, it's basically like the Joker in Batman. He's just lighting a fucking pile of money on fire. They don't really give a shit. Honestly, that's what it seems like, right? Some people, 1,000 million people, $1,000 from 10 million people, right? Or $1,000 from 20 million, or $1,000 from 30 million people. That kind of money can move the market, right? And that's what you're seeing right now. I think that this teaches Wall Street that there are actually people out there other than them that know what the fuck's going on, and that these retail investors are not just unsophisticated as they've been called, right? Old people and old money, they don't understand meme culture, and they don't understand the internet, and it is abundantly fucking clear by the fact that these hedge funds are bleeding money, and the fact that the news, they don't even have a fucking clue what's going on and why the price keeps going up. Oh, and also, by the way, for all these people out there that are saying this is market manipulation, and that this should be illegal. You shouldn't be able to get together with a bunch of your buddies on Reddit and talk about things and talk about the market. You know what? Go fuck yourself. That's how I feel about that. Right? What's the difference? What's the difference between somebody getting on CNBC and talking about it? Right? You get an analyst on there. An analyst comes on there and says, I really like GM. I like GM because they just got this sweet deal with Nikola. Right? I like GM. Right? If an analyst comes on there and gives a favorable review to a favorable price target to a stock, I saw somebody give a favorable price target to Tesla the other day. Right? Somebody increased it to $1,000. Well, the stock went down $40 today. Where is that market manipulation? What the fuck's going on there? Right? I mean, it's the thing. Like, this is what happens. All this, an analyst is protected by the First Amendment, right? A YouTuber. I've talked about this before. YouTubers, they do the same fucking thing, right? They go on here and they talk about stocks, and they say, I like this one. I think you guys should buy this. Maybe they don't say, I think you guys should buy this, but they end up saying stuff like that. Jim Cramer. I literally watched him and Dave Portnoy talk about it, right? And is that stock market manipulation? That's just a conversation, right? I mean, they talk about it. I literally could have bought in. I'm listening to the same fucking conversation that everybody else is listening to. I have the opportunity to do it, right? Wall Street Bets, it's not like it was a private forum. Anybody had the option to go and look at that shit. The hedge funds had that chance. They could have done it. Maybe they're going to end up hiring somebody to end up strolling on to Wall Street Bets and probably trying to figure out if they can front run a couple of things based on what they're reading on Wall Street Bets. Wouldn't be surprised if that happens. When you're talking about short sellers, right? An analyst who gives a good price, right? You get a short seller comes out, Citron Research, Andrew Lefty come out and said the other day. He said, these are the reasons why I'm shorting GameStop. This is the reason why I'm shorting it. This is the reason why I think the price is $20 a share, not $40 a share. Is that market manipulation? He comes out, he says something, right? We don't call that market manipulation. Jim Chanos, and I'm not talking shit about these. I'm just saying these are examples of people who have come out and said things. Wall Street Bets loves Elon Musk. They love Tesla. But Jim Chanos says that it's a poorly run company and that it's going to whatever. I don't know. He's still 5% of his portfolio short. He's still max short, I guess. And he's getting fucking smoked on being short. Nikola, right? That's where one that they got it right. Nikola had Oppenheimer, I think, Oppenheimer Research, something like that. They came out and they said they were short Nikola and said, hey, here's all the reasons why. And it turned out to be true. right? Is that market manipulation? You're basically telling on a company that is out there lying. So that feels like Nikola was probably doing the fraudulent thing. But is this, we allow all of these things, we allow all of this stuff, right? But then we go and we're harping on a couple of dudes, a million people on Wall Street bets talking to each other. Right? Honestly, I think what happened is they saw that this stuff was massively shorted, and they said, "You're attacking my childhood." That's it. I remember going, like I said before, I remember going to, GameStop and buying video games and stuff like that. These are my memories. You're trying to put GameStop out of business? GameStop? That's the place I used to go. Look at me. I got a ton of memories of going to GameStop, a ton of memories of going to these places, buying cards, trading cards, Pokemon cards, and some shit like that. All kinds of stuff. And that's why I think people are piling into these things saying, go fuck yourself. So now what I think is going to end up happening is people are going to think twice about releasing the fact that they're short a stock. They're not going to be talking about their short positions anymore. Andrew Left came out the other day and said Citron Research, they closed their position, and that they are not going to be releasing any information about their short position anymore. So, is it illegal for hedge funds to gang up against each other, to go in a concerted effort to try and push the other one out? Here's looking at the old Bill Ackman and Herbalife short, where he did that and got just smoked by everybody else who decided to buy in. As I said before, the retailer is likely the one who's going to end up holding this bag of worthless shares, right? And once GameStop inevitably returns to reality, it's just going to end up happening. It's just the way things are going to be. The retailer is always going to be the one that ends up getting left holding this empty bag, this empty thing of worthless stuff. I mean, unless somehow this ends up changing the way that Wall Street is done, things are just going to continue to go the way that they are. Anyway, I'll be back here on Sunday again talking about all this. I'm going to do some more research. I'm sure there's going to be some more developments into everything that's happening. And actually, in the time that I've been talking, I saw on Twitter that Steve Cohen has decided to delete his Twitter account. I'm assuming probably because the internet decided to get to him and probably bully him a little bit too much. So that's probably what's happening there. As the days go, more and more developments will come out, and we'll see what happens. And I'll be back here on Sunday, as I said, to talk more about what's going on with Wall Street bets, GameStop, and the craziness of the stock market. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe.